Welcome to VHS Voyage, where you can join our journey to find, watch, and discuss movies on VHS that we've never seen or never knew existed. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
And in today's episode, we're going to talk about
Crybaby.
Okay, so, it was a weird movie. Starting with that. Now, I'm going to start with this. I don't know how to feel about this movie. I don't know how to feel about it, Devin. I haven't even fully decided if I like this movie or not. So I'm hoping by the end of our discussion, I'll have figured it out.
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about Crybaby. And before we start talking about the story and all that good stuff, Devin, hit us with some facts and information.
This is directed and written by cult follow director John Waters. He's known for Pink Flamingos, Polyester, Serial Mom, Cecil B. Demented, and Hairspray. IMDb.
Okay, I'll admit I accidentally saw it 6.5 out of 10.
That's fine.
I accidentally saw this one. I cheated this time.
Rotten Tomatoes?
Now, I have not seen the Rotten Tomatoes. All right, I'm going to say critic score 55.
A lot higher than that.
Okay, critic score 75.
72.
Okay, and then user score, audience score, I'm going to say 63.
It's higher than the critic score.
80?
77.
Okay, 77.
So, yeah.
Okay.
This stars Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize anybody else.
Willem Dafoe, but he's only he's in it for like a minute.
Yeah.
But I got a note about that. So Iggy Pop's in it for like a little bit. But yeah, this was a huge box office failure when it came out. A huge box office failure. But it became such a cult classic that it was turned into a Broadway play and has won multiple Tony Awards.
Really?
But Hairspray is one of the biggest Broadway plays of all time, which is also another John Waters creation. But this is won multiple Tony Awards and become a really big Broadway play. Here's the thing though, if this movie would have just came out a year later, 8 months after this movie came out, Edward Scissorhands came out, which exploded Johnny Depp's career.
Yeah.
If this movie would have just came out like a year later, it would have been huge because of Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So it came out just like a little bit before Johnny Depp exploded. Speaking of Johnny Depp, John Waters discovered him on the front of a magazine because Johnny Depp was in 21 Jump Street, and that was the cover of the magazine. And John Waters was like, "Oh, I like this guy's look. I think he would be good for this part."
Okay.
So Willem Dafoe was in this movie for about a minute. He just wanted to work with John Waters.
Oh, really?
So he was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in this movie for like a minute," because Willem Dafoe was already a very famous actor at this time. He had already done, like Streets of Fire and Last Temptation of Christ and all that. So in Platoon. So he was just like, "Yeah, I just want to work with John Waters." So he's in the movie for like a minute.
Yep.
One of the actresses, I think the one that uses her tits as a weapon, it was a porn star, and the FBI kept like coming to the set because she was under some kind of investigation.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
Tracy Lords is her name.
Interesting.
That's a fact I found. And the last fact is this was John Waters' first like major studio film. And it was kind of toned down a little bit. Still weird, but it was toned down a little bit because of that.
Okay, I'm gonna do my best to explain kind of the story of the movie because it's a little all over the place and chaotic, to say the least. But essentially, in this movie, Johnny Depp's character, he calls himself Crybaby. He is part of a sort of gang called the Drapes, which consists of mainly family members and friends and things like that. And this takes place in the 50s in Baltimore. And then you got this other group of people that they are called the Squares, and I guess they're just like rich, preppy, quote unquote normal people, right? Johnny Depp's character, one of the Drapes, and one of the Squares, a character named Allison, kind of start to have a thing for one another. The movie progresses from there where they're trying to, I guess, build their relation or start their relationship, but there's resistance on both sides, mainly on Allison's side with her grandmother, because she thinks that Johnny Depp's character is evil and that he's a hellion and his group of gang members are, cause nothing but trouble. And so it's just this kind of back and forth story between these two characters trying to form this romantic bond. I guess that's the best way I know to explain it.
It's a greaser and a preppy person falling in love, and some people don't agree.
Yeah.
And it's a musical.
Yep. Dude, I don't even know where to start. Let me start by saying this, and we can talk about this in more detail. Okay. There were a couple things that I really, really liked about this movie. Thought it had really good cinematography at times.
Yep.
And the score and music is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's really good.
That part is really, really, really good. Also, the set design and the costume design was really, really good. You know, you saw there was tons of cars from the 50s, and the clothing seemed good, and it did, like, everything just seemed very legit, and it felt like the 50s. It had a good 50s vibe to it. And we can talk about that stuff in more detail, but I want to know, what do you want to get into?
I kind of knew what I was going into here.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing about John Waters, I've always been kind of intrigued by him, because I'm kind of like intrigued by like people that are like kind of off the social norm and kind of odd and weird.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've done like kind of like a deep dive into him.
Mm-hmm.
I love this, Matt.
Yeah.
I love this so much. I can't even begin to explain to you how much I love this.
Yeah.
The dialogue in this movie is so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
That's what
in a good way.
Yes, that's what I want to. Can I read some of my favorite lines from this movie?
Let's hear it. Yeah.
No wonder we're together. Honey, we're both orphans. I love that line. The alphabet killer. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Kaboom. Like, the K doesn't even follow G. It makes no sense at all. And then my favorite line of the whole movie. What does fuck mean?
Yes.
That's my favorite line of the whole movie.
But it was bleeped out the first two times, and then the third time it doesn't bleep it out.
Would you just get me the out of here?
What's mean, Hector?
Oh, Meg, it's just a teen nonsense word Wanda uses to make herself feel all grown up.
Your Honor, could we take Wanda the fuck home?
So I knew the ridiculous dialogue I was going to get here, and it did not disappoint. I loved it.
Yeah, so let me explain the statement I made when we first started the video, where I said I can't decide if it, because like while we were watching this movie, part of me was like, I'm really enjoying this. And then the other part of me was like, this is f***ing weird. But not weird in a bad way. It's like I was having an internal battle in my mind while watching this movie.
I think that's what John Waters does to you.
Yeah.
It's so odd and so off the beaten path. It's like you can't even process it in the moment. It's like, okay, but then the more it sits with you, you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, it's like growing on me.
There's a lot of wild shit in this movie. Let's talk about some of the wild shit in this movie. Well, first off, so Johnny Depp's character Crybaby, his grandmother is married to his uncle. So
okay, this was like a super stereotypical, like redneck deep woods family.
Yeah.
Bro, there's a part where she runs out of the house with a shotgun and shoots a gopher. It makes no sense.
Goddamn gophers digging up my front yard.
And in their house, they've got this really elaborate rotating mechanism that reveals this motorcycle that they're gifting to Johnny Depp's character. Like, why do they have that?
And they bathe outside in a bucket.
Yes,
and they scrub themselves in a bucket.
The uncle was in a damn bucket, naked, scrubbing himself with soap and water while everybody came to visit, and he's just sitting there scrubbing himself, scrubbing his crotch, and just, so a lot of weird stuff. There's a giant fight scene between the squares and the drapes, but before the fight scene, there's like this dance and everybody's tonguing each other. No joke. Johnny Depp's character and Allison he was like showing her how to French kiss for the first time. And then it cuts to almost everybody at this party tonguing each other that are dancing. They're dancing and they're just tonguing each other. Some of it more disturbing than others.
Yep.
And then I don't even want to talk about what it cuts to at the end of that scene.
That was weird.
It was really weird. Let's just put it that way.
Here's the thing though, that scene was so weird, but at the same time, you couldn't stop watching.
Yeah,
it was like
you couldn't look away.
It's like, am I actually seeing what I'm seeing right now? That's like the thought you had in your mind. And I also don't want to get into how the scene ends and what it cuts to.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Maybe went a step too far.
So then it proceeds to this giant fight scene. It's completely ridiculous, completely over the top. I mean, look, the whole movie is very ridiculous. It's very goofy.
It's like overacted.
Overacted
I love
big time.
purposely. It's purposely.
Yeah, it's clearly on purpose.
But
another kind of weird scene is Crybaby and Allison were having a romantic moment. This was during everything we talked about, the fight scene and the tonguing and everything. They're having this romantic moment. And Allison starts talking about how both her parents died in an airplane crash. And then Johnny Depp starts talking about how both of his parents were electrocuted by a what do you call the chair?
Electric chair.
Electric chair.
Yeah.
By an electric chair because his dad was apparently some terrorist that called the alphabet bomber that bombed things in alphabetical order.
Yeah. Yes. And again, one of my favorite lines, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, kaboom. That line makes more sense now that y'all know his dad was a killer. I kind of mentioned it earlier. During that fight scene, there's a woman that uses her boobs to punch somebody in the face. There's a lot of orphan stuff in this movie. Mm-hmm. I think one of my favorite parts was where the family dresses up to go find the kids and they have all these orphans displayed in cases like a museum, like attraction. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. I was literally like, that is brilliant. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that was hilarious. And they had them as like Siamese twins. Like, it was so weird. I loved it.
Little Joey, Mother's little helper. He not only vacuums, he does windows. Irons, yeah.
Here, these are the ones we want.
The best scene in the movie, Matt. It's got to be the courtroom scene, right?
Dude, the courtroom scene was... It was just insane. I was like, I'm sitting here like, what the am I watching right now? What is happening? What is going on? Explain.
After that fight scene, of course, the greasers and the outcasts get blamed for it, so they go to court. Crybaby and his family. Crybaby goes to prison. His nephews and nieces get put up for adoption. I don't even remember what else that happens, and basically, all of a sudden, all this trauma, the judge goes, you put your grandmother in an iron lung. And literally she comes out in an iron lung, gets pushed into the courtroom and goes on this big rant. I don't even know how to explain this.
Yeah. You happy now, Mona? Huh? You finally did it. You put your own mother in an iron lung.
She's in this giant, like...
Yeah.
Like,
it's an iron lung.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's an iron lung, yeah.
And she's smoking and it just... And then she gets a flat tire. She starts talking about how she got a flat tire. Like...
Oh, Christ! Now I got a flat tire!
Courtroom scenes in VHS Voyage. We got Bingo and now we got Crybaby.
You're right.
Courtroom scenes are where it's at. Crybaby escapes prison.
Tries to.
And a rat literally leads him. A rat in the sewer actually tricks him and leads him to the police, and then the rat laughs in his face.
Yeah, laughs in his face, yeah.
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah. There's a lot of really random scenes. This movie is very chaotic. There's a lot of really random scenes. Like there's a scene where Allison's character is crying into a jar, and then later on it cuts back to her and she drinks the tears.
Yeah.
That was weird. There's a whole sequence where two of the drapes they literally find a helicopter, somehow steal a helicopter, somehow they know how to pilot a helicopter, and they pilot it to this juvenile jail to try to break Crybaby out of jail. They just end up running through the jail and then escaping themselves. It was very, it was something.
I did love when they were running through the jail though, and they bursted through the screen. Mm-hmm. So basically everyone in the jail was watching Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
And right before a jump scare was gonna happen in that movie, they actually burst through the screen and like all the prisoners freak out. I like that scene.
The scene towards the end where they're playing chicken. So Crybaby's character's hanging onto a car, and then Allison's other boyfriend, the Square, is hanging onto a car, and they're playing chicken to see who turns first. And that whole sequence was ridiculous. What caused Allison to fly into the air? What was it? Because at one point she flies into the air like 50 feet and then just lands perfectly in Crybaby's arms.
Yeah, I can't remember. But also a woman gives birth in this scene.
Yeah! Crybaby's sister, who's pregnant through the whole movie, already has kids. She's like in high school. She's in the car. She's pregnant in the car that they're playing chicken with, and all of a sudden she pulls a damn baby out of her vagina. I don't know if anything that we've said up to this point has made any sense whatsoever.
Probably not.
Because this is a hard movie to talk about and explain because it's very chaotic, it's very ridiculous, it's very insane. The score was phenomenal all throughout the movie. Yeah. All throughout the movie, the score was phenomenal. The musical bits are really, really well done. I really like the one in the jail where, you know, he's singing about how he's, I don't remember the lyrics, but that one was really good. It was catchy. The one at the end of the movie where Allison is singing to get Crybaby out of jail, that was really good. So there were some really good musical bits. The score was just really good. I mean,
yeah, it got turned into a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really, really good. John Waters definitely, because he did Hairspray too, he has some kind of sense for music. I don't know who he works with. I don't know if he writes the music or what, but he's got a really good, like, mind for it. And
it had some good cinematography in it too.
Yes.
Some good shots.
My favorite shot was where he was in prison on the bed singing the song and there's like a dolly zoom. Like it was so good. I love that shot so much. I'll put it in the video because it's hard for me to explain, but I love that shot.
There's so many crazy scenarios that happened in this movie. I can't even remember all of them.
And it's in an hour and 20 minutes that all this happens.
Yeah.
It's just like boom, 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 boom. Like I like that too. Like sometimes movies don't need to be long. This was an example of that. So
yeah, it's very fast moving. There's no downtime. It's just one crazy thing after another.
Yeah. This movie's campy. It's odd. It's weird. It's off the norm. But it's got this charm to it that I can't explain. It's got such an odd charm to it that I connected with, and I can't explain it. And I loved it. I think this is the most fun I've had watching a movie on VHS Voyage.
Oh, wow.
Just the most fun I've had. And it might be my favorite one we've watched. It's definitely not the most well-made. That's probably like Manhunter or something, but just most fun and enjoyable. I love this, and even though I'm scared, I think I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into John Waters movies, even though I'm kind of scared, because I really enjoyed it. I might do Serial Mom next. I might keep it tame for now and then go into the other stuff when I'm more prepared.
Again, I had this internal battle in my mind about this movie, and I think after having this discussion, I have settled on I do really like it. I don't think I liked it quite as much as you did, but I do really, really like the movie. It is different. It's very strange. It's very original. It's very unique. I've never quite seen anything like it. Like Devin said, it is a very fun movie to watch. It's consistently fun and entertaining. You're not going to be bored watching Crybaby in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I think, I like it a lot. And whoa, what is happening?
I'm so sorry.
When we film with her in the room, she acts really weird.
Yeah, and she jumped into my lap just now.
I guess this is how we're ending the video.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's safe to say that Crybaby is going to be a keep it.
Yeah.
For us. And it was a surprise because going into it, I didn't know what to expect at all. Nothing. I had zero expectations whatsoever. It was completely different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a just straight up romance movie with maybe a little bit of comedy and some musicals thrown in. But instead, what we got is this insane, ridiculous, over the top, almost slapstick at times musical that is unlike anything that I think we've ever seen. Thank you for watching today's episode of VHS Voyage on Crybaby. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.